Armin and Bilal grew up on the same dusty street where dreams often felt smaller than reality. Every evening, they would sit under a flickering streetlight, sharing stories about the future. But even in those quiet moments, their worlds were already different. Inside Armin's house, fear lived silently in every corner. His father, tired from years of hard labor, would sit him down and repeat the same words like a warning: "Beta, life is not about big dreams. It's about survival. Study hard, get a stable job, and never take risks. People who take risks lose everything." Armin listened carefully. He saw the exhaustion in his father's eyes and believed him. To him, safety became success. Bilal's life was different, even though he had less. His father had passed away early, and his mother struggled to make ends meet. But down the street, there was an old shopkeeper who noticed Bilal's curiosity. Whenever Bilal came by, the old man would smile and say, "Sit, I'll teach you something schools don't." He spoke about money like it was a game, how it moved, how it grew, how it could work for you if you understood it. "If you only work for money," he once said, "you'll always be tired. Learn how money works, and one day it will work for you." That night, both boys lay in their beds, staring at the ceiling. Armin imagined a secure job, a steady salary, and a life without risk. Bilal imagined freedom, no boss, no limits, just possibilities. Same street. Same beginning. But two completely different mindsets were already being born. By the age of 28, Armin finally felt like he had made it. The day he received his government job letter, his entire family celebrated like it was the greatest victory of their lives. His father's eyes filled with pride as he said, "Now you are safe. Your future is secure." Armin believed it too. Every morning, he wore his neatly pressed clothes, carried his office bag, and walked with a sense of achievement. A fixed salary, respect in society, and a predictable life, everything he had been taught to chase. Bilal's journey looked completely different from the outside. While Armin was building stability, Bilal was facing failure after failure. His first small business, selling mobile accessories, collapsed within months. Then he tried an online clothing page. It barely made any sales. He invested whatever little savings he had, only to lose it again. People in the neighborhood started whispering, "He's wasting his life chasing shortcuts." One evening, the two friends met again under that same old streetlight. Armin leaned back confidently and said with a slight smirk, "Yar, you're still running after these risky ideas. Look at me, I'm settled now. No tension, no uncertainty." His voice carried pride, but also a hidden relief that he had chosen the safe path. Bilal listened quietly, his face calm despite everything he had been through. He didn't argue. Instead, he looked up at the dim light above them and said softly, "I'm not struggling. I'm learning." Armin chuckled, shaking his head, unable to understand. To him, failure meant weakness. But to Bilal, every loss was a lesson, something no school or job could ever teach him. 5 years passed quietly, but life had been anything but quiet for both of them. Armin's mornings now began with the sound of alarms and ended with the weight of exhaustion. His salary had increased, just like everyone promised it would. On paper, his life looked perfect. He had a car, a decent house on installments, and a stable job people still respected. But behind that image was a different reality. Every month felt like a race he couldn't win. As soon as his salary came in, it disappeared: loan payments, bills, family expenses. Sometimes, late at night, he would sit alone, staring at his bank app, wondering how someone earning more every year could still feel so stuck. The job that once felt like security now felt like a cage. He couldn't quit, because everything depended on it. And that thought scared him more than failure ever did. Bilal's journey was still not easy, but it had changed direction. After years of trial and error, something finally clicked. He started a small online business again, this time using everything he had learned from his past failures. He didn't rush. He didn't chase quick money. He focused on systems, on understanding customers, on building something that could run even when he wasn't working. At first, it made very little. But slowly, it grew. Then he started another small venture. Then another. Each one wasn't perfect, but together they created something powerful. For the first time in his life, Bilal noticed something different. Money didn't only come from his effort anymore. It came from the systems he had built. One evening, while Armin was stuck in traffic after a long, draining day, Bilal was sitting at a small cafe, casually checking his phone. Sales notifications kept popping up one after another. Armin was working harder than ever, yet felt poorer. Bilal was working smarter, and finally felt free. The difference wasn't luck. It was everything they had believed from the very beginning. One evening, after weeks of hesitation, Armin finally decided to visit Bilal. He had heard people talking, whispers about Bilal's success, his growing business, his new office. At first, Armin ignored it. But deep down, curiosity, and something close to discomfort, kept growing. When he arrived, he paused outside the building. It wasn't just an office, it was something he had never imagined Bilal could build. Clean glass doors, a quiet professional atmosphere, people moving with purpose. For a moment, Armin felt out of place, like he had stepped into someone else's world. Inside, Bilal greeted him with the same calm smile. No arrogance. No showing off. Just quiet confidence. As Armin walked around, he noticed employees working on laptops, handling orders, talking to clients. Screens showed numbers, growth charts, sales dashboards. Everything felt alive, like the business was breathing on its own. Armin couldn't hold it in anymore. His voice lowered, almost unsure. "How did you do all this?" Bilal looked at him for a moment, as if choosing his words carefully. Then he said softly, "I failed enough times to understand one thing. I was doing it wrong before." Armin frowned, confused. "What do you mean?" Bilal walked over to a screen showing real-time sales coming in and continued. "I used to work for money, just like everyone else. Every time I stopped, money stopped. That's not freedom, that's just another job." He turned back to Armin, his voice steady but deep. "So I learned to build systems. Things that keep working even when I don't. I stopped chasing income, and started creating assets." Armin stood there silently. For the first time in years, he felt small, not because Bilal was richer, but because he realized something painful. All these years, he had been running fast. But maybe, in the wrong direction. The office lights reflected in his eyes, but inside, something felt heavy. Not jealousy. Not regret. It was realization. That night, Armin returned home, but everything felt different. The same walls, the same furniture, the same life, yet something inside him had shifted. He walked slowly to his cupboard and opened it. Inside were neatly arranged files, degrees, certificates, achievements he had once been so proud of. He picked one up and stared at it for a long time. For years, these papers had given him confidence. They were proof that he had done everything right. But tonight, they felt strangely heavy. Not useless, but incomplete. Like they had taught him how to earn, but never how to grow. He sat down on the edge of his bed, his mind replaying Bilal's words again and again. "I stopped working for money, and made money work for me." Armin looked around his room, the expensive phone, the furniture on installments, the life built on monthly payments. For the first time, he saw the truth clearly. He wasn't rich. He was just well paid, and deeply dependent. A quiet tear rolled down his cheek, not out of sadness, but realization. He reached for a blank notebook lying nearby. His hands were slightly shaking as he opened the first page. For a moment, he hesitated, then slowly wrote. "Today, I start learning, not just earning." It was a small sentence. But it felt like the beginning of something bigger than all his past achievements combined. Across the city, Bilal sat alone in his office after everyone had left. The lights were dim, the noise gone. He leaned back in his chair, scrolling through old photos on his phone, pictures from the days when he had nothing, when every failure felt like the end. He smiled softly. Because now he understood something most people never do. Those failures were never losses, they were his real education. 2 lives. 2 journeys. One chose security first and learned freedom later. The other chose struggle first and found freedom earlier. And in the end, the truth quietly revealed itself. The real wealth was never money. It was the mindset that created it.